The biggest complaint among many that the Trump administration has with media these days is the relentless focus on all things Russia, specifically Trump family ties, campaign ties, and efforts to rig the election. And you know what? They might have a point. Sometimes it's easy to relate to poor middle sister Jan Brady. After all, it's all about
Marsha, Marsha, Marsha.
Make that Russia, Russia, Russia. Even before Donald Trump Jr. tweeted out emails proving he met with Russians who claimed to have dirt on Hillary Clinton, the Russia coverage has been nonstop.
Don Jr. is the latest person in the president's orbit to mislead you about their contacts with Russia.
In fact, CNN has spent so much time on the story that Trump and his staff have taken to sending out memes and blasting the network face-to-face, as in this 35-minute Kellyanne Conway go-round with CNN's Chris Cuomo.
Aren't you the least bit reluctant, if not embarrassed, that you now talk about Russia more than you talk about America?
But it's not just CNN.
Russia.
The Russia story will not go away.
Networks, newspapers, radio, podcasts, and magazines, like this week's New Republic, on money laundering at Trump Tower, are all focused on new and intriguing Russian connections, a point not lost on Trump communications director Sean Spicer.
If the president puts Russian salad dressing on his salad tonight, somehow that's a Russian connection.
Far-fetched, but not so far off the mark. Okay, I'm fully prepared to be all alone on this. I find it tedious. I'm done. I mean, it was really interesting to me about the email. But that was one of the first most interesting things that's come out in the last 7 months. This has been nonstop since the inauguration date. I can't put my finger on one tangible thing that really is so alarming and upsetting about this, other than the fact that Donald Trump Jr. admitted he met with some low-level Russian people who gave him nothing. And I happen to agree with Donald Trump in this case. I think everybody would have taken that meeting.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm out on a limb.
Well, I don't know if you're alone, but I grant you, this is perhaps like focusing on every mile of a marathon here and who's ahead and but no, this is, well, first of all, there's no one to blame about this but Donald Trump and his people themselves. They are the ones that just consistently seem to be shooting themselves in the feet and letting something like that get out. And naturally it gets picked up. There's the old saying in Washington, never screw up on a slow news day. It's summer. There is time to fill and so, but I don't think this is without substance, particularly the meeting with Don Jr.
This was the first thing, but as I say, we're 7 months along into this nonstop discussion. This is the most interesting thing, and I didn't think it was all that shocking.
Well, am I alone here? No.
No, you guys could all be against me.
I know, I'm halfway there. I do think that meeting was not right, and I don't think it's not that important. I do think that, especially someone who is, as I would think, educated and has been out in public for so long, you understand certain things you can do and can't do. And certainly if you have experience in politics, you know those are not innocent meetings. You just can't have them. So I don't think that you can discount the meeting. But I do think that the public is getting tired of the Russia story. There is an investigation underway, so I think you let the investigation play out and then you report whatever the findings are. But this daily finding anything whatsoever that you can to keep the Russia story alive, I think is getting a little tired, and I don't tune in anymore. And the problem is when they do find, if in fact they do find something, then people are going to say, well, that's all they found?
Yeah.
You know, you're building it up to expect something huge, and if something huge doesn't occur, then you feel like you were left out of here.
Well, I would say this is a fairly tough week to try to make the argument that the media are paying too much attention to Russia, and especially with the email. We learn something new every few hours. Where I would agree with you is that, like everything, we need to keep this in proportion, and there's an awful lot going on nationally and in the world that is just being completely ignored. And not just the health care bill. There are many things going on. And especially when you tune into cable television in the evening, all they're talking about is Russia. And you would like to see some other topics brought up as well. But that's not to say that the Russia story isn't topic A, because it is.
Something huge has happened. I think I'm quoting Charles Krauthammer, I'm not sure if it's someone else, who said just because you break into the house and there was nothing there to take does not make it less of a crime. So you go to a meeting and your excuse is that, well, nothing happened. No, 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 no. You were in a meeting with the campaign manager, with everybody else. I don't agree that everybody would take that meeting. In fact, as we know, Al Gore had an opportunity to run away with George Bush's private information in his preparation for his for the debate, and he did not. He called the FBI and said, something funny's going on here. I should not have this information. We all agree, political folks, that they want to have opposition research, but you cannot, there are certain lines that you don't cross, particularly with a foreign entity sworn to be an enemy of this country. So now, here's the problem. People are, because of cable, and I'm sorry, this is a cable repetitive thing, where they repeat the same story that has great import so that it does make it seem as though it's a small thing, and it's not a small thing. I don't know what to do about that. And as we go along, the New York Times and the Washington Post keep breaking stories. So there are more and more to add to it that actually is big. I can't remember
what they were. Just to be consistent, I felt the same way about the Hillary email story. So, you know.
I'm just saying that there is a lot going on here, and that it's more than speculation, and it's not something that we can dismiss. I will say to you that some of the way that it's been handled in terms of how it's presented probably could be better, but it's important stuff.
Or less. That's all I'm saying.